So I went to get on the trusty V-Strom with my Zega Pro Touratech panniers this week, and one of these mounts that holds the panniers on had vibrated completely out, and I lost this part of the bracket, and the one in the front was just hanging on by a thread, which meant that with both of these loose, the bag was going to fall right off. And I wanted to come up with a way to secure these. What Touratech did was they sent me some updated wave washers, which are much larger than the original ones that came with it. And I think that they realized that there was an issue with the with these things vibrating loose, because they've certainly given a much thicker and much wider wave washer to hold more tension on these locking rings. Now, the other thing that you're supposed to do is put these nylon acorns on and tighten them up, but you really only want them finger tight, because if you want to take these off at a campsite or whatever and use them as chairs, you want to be able to do that. So you're always relying on these being finger tight, and there's just too much vibration, and you end up looking for them and they fall off, and they're $23 a piece. Touratech was kind enough to send me this replacement for free this week. But what we're going to do to make this even more secure this time around is we're going to cut these off. We're going to cut these studs off right about here. Going to get rid of the lock nut, the acorn nylon nut, and we're going to cross drill this shaft, this threaded rod, with a hole. It's going to allow us to put a hitch pin in, and the hitch pins that I'm going to use are just from a inexpensive Harbor Freight hitch pin kit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two of them as a pair and put a lanyard in between them to keep them from getting lost. And I think with those tied to each other, they'll keep those from ever turning and coming out. And also they'll prevent that lock, this guy here, this attachment nut, from coming off. So that's going to be my fix to my auto eject Touratech bags. Hopefully that'll keep them on. We'll get them mounted in the vise, show you cutting them off and cross drilling them, and then we'll put them in and put the hitch pins in. Be right back. The tools you'll need for this mod, pretty simple really. Just a small drill. You could substitute a drill press if you had the luxury of having one. It would certainly make this come out even better, not trying to hand drill the holes. I still would always recommend the center punch, unless you had a milling machine and a center drill, which would be even better. But again, if you're doing it by hand, center punch the holes first. And a flat file, so that you have a flat surface to center punch on. Again, you probably wouldn't need the flat file or the center punch if you were using an end mill, or a milling machine rather. But I didn't have either of those at my disposal, and these hand tools worked just fine and gave me a nice secure solution. So here we've got the bracket mounted up in the vise, and all we're going to do is take a hacksaw and cut through that shaft. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to mark these for the hole. Now, unfortunately, because this is threaded, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and file a small flat right here, so that I can have a little better control over where I start the hole when I start to drill it. Otherwise, the drill's going to try and walk on these threads, and I'm not going to get a nice job. a little bit better. Want to file a small flat right here, right on the end of this bar, so that I can get a better center punch mark for my drill. And this is just a large flat file, nothing special. But what I'm doing here, I'm making sure that my hole is in the same direction as this bar is, so that when the bars are installed laterally, holding the bags on, the pins are also horizontal. That'll help keep my lanyard length uniform, make it look a lot neater inside. You'll notice what I'm talking about when I put it all together. But anyway, I want to make sure my holes go in the same direction as this bar is long ways. So my flat's going to be up here so I can mark the hole. Alright, so our next step is going to be to get a good center punch mark right here, so that it'll guide our drill bit nicely. There we go. Next step is to drill a hole. Okay. Next is just to drill the hole. So once we've got the hole through both sides, we're going to need to deburr, take these edges off from the sawing and the hole cutting and stuff. And for that, what I'm going to use is this nice little handheld belt sander. If you don't have that, regular file will work just fine. Be right back. And here's the hitch pin installed temporarily. We'll go ahead and fit this one into the box, make sure everything lines up okay, and then we'll do the other three. Now that, to me, is a much nicer way to keep these from coming off. And you'll notice it also gives me back quite a bit of interior room, because if I tie or put on one of these acorn nuts, you can see how much further that's stuck into the interior space versus this nice little hitch pin. I don't even know if I'm going to worry about the lanyard or not. It might be nice to keep them from getting lost, but that's a nice tight, worry-free solution there that I'll know I'll never have to go looking for another one of those brackets again, as long as I don't forget to put the hitch pins on. So I'm really happy with it so far. I'm going to go work on the other three. So here they are, all four of them installed with their pins. This is the right side bag. Swing over here. This is the left side bag. I've got almost ½ an inch more space now in the width, which actually when I go to the range makes a difference, because now it'll make it a lot easier for me to get my my bullseye box that I bring to the range when I shoot bullseye events. It'll make it much easier to get that in my bag now. It just fit before, it was really snug, and now I'll have almost ½ an inch more room to get larger objects in there. And I won't have to go looking for my $1,700 worth of panniers if the brackets were to vibrate out. So I don't think I'll have that problem anymore. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps, and let me know if you try it out. Send me some pictures.